Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. 'Twas the week before spoiler season, and the community was alarmed because, well, they got charms. Okay, yeah, I'm terrible at rhyming and poetry or music, whatever. This pre-spoiler season, though, has been quite exciting because, yeah, we have a brand new cycle of charms, and it seems like one is getting released every single day of this week, at least so far. So, if you haven't seen my episode on Maestro's Charm, make sure you see that episode at some point, but not just yet. And also make sure you watch my episode on Obscura Charm, which came out yesterday, but also do not leave just yet, because this episode is on Cabaretti Charm. So to find out if Cabaretti Charm is the best charm yet, well, let's jump into it to find out. So like every other charm, Cabaretti Charm is an instant that gives us 3 options, and it's going to cost 3 colors, or should I say 1 pip of each color. You know what I mean. It costs red, green, and white, so this is the Naya Charm. It says choose one. Cabaretti Charm deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn, or create 2 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Okay, so let's break down this charm, because this charm to me seems a lot more specific than the other charms that we've seen so far. Granted, like other charms, obviously there is flexibility to this spell, but this spell seems to more fit in specific decks than the others do. Whereas the others have flexible options that can help out pretty much every deck, well, if you're in a deck that doesn't really have a lot of creatures or care about creatures, this is not the card for you. Now, obviously, in these colors, being Naya, typically your decks are going to have some creatures or a good amount of creatures in them, so yeah, I can definitely see this charm seeing play, but I do think it is going to be more specific on which decks want to use it. That being said, this card can be a perfect fit for specific decks out there, and they are going to love every single one of those options. The first option, again, is it's going to deal damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. So this is a fantastic removal card, again, in the right deck. If you've got no creatures in play, obviously that is a do-nothing effect, and do not pick that one. But if you've got, say, a go-wide strategy, maybe a token build, you can have a ton of creatures on the board, I mean upwards of 10, and then this is basically just a removal spell for any creature or planeswalker out there. Or should I say, okay, anyone that isn't indestructible or can regenerate, you know what I mean. But of course, even with less creatures in play, if you've got 5 or so, you can still take out a good amount of creatures and planeswalkers out there. It just really depends on the board situation, obviously. Speaking of which, obviously that second option can be a fantastic one as well. It says creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. Obviously, in a go-wide strategy, again, you're going to benefit more from this than other decks will because, well, you've got more creatures in play. Therefore, you are pumping more creatures and dishing out more damage and benefiting more from this play. But yeah, keep in mind that that middle option can definitely be a great way to push damage through and a way to finish out the game in certain situations. Obviously, keep in mind that, again, this is an instant, so yeah, it can be a fantastic combat trick. Speaking of which, that last option obviously can also help go-wide strategies by helping them, well, go wide by making you 2 tokens. Now, out of the 3 options, this is probably the weakest of the 3, making 2 tokens for 3 mana. There are definitely cards out there that are more efficient than that, but still, a decent option to have if you need to rebuild your board. Or again, keep in mind that this is an instant, you can surprise make 2 tokens right before your turn to make your army larger. Or also, if someone's attacking you with some creatures, you can just chump block with those 2 tokens as well. So compared to the other charms that we've seen so far, again, in my opinion, this one is much more specific, but very good in those kinds of decks that are in these colors and that want to go wide and have a very flexible card that can help them out in a lot of scenarios. That being said, like the other charms that we've talked about so far, there are also 2 other charms that are actually in Naya for us to compare this one to. And of course, the first one that I'm going to compare this to is the incredibly popular Naya Charm. According to EDH Rec, out of the potential decks that Naya Charm could see play in, it sees play in a whopping 8% of eligible decks out there. So with that number, it is actually the most popular charm out there, and for good reason. It's an instant that costs the exact same amount, obviously, and it says choose one. It deals 3 damage to target creature, return target card from a graveyard to its owner's hand, or tap all creatures target player controls. So it has removal, card advantage, through recursion, as well as a fantastic combat trick. Now, obviously, when we compare that kind of removal to the Cabaretti Charm, 3 damage to 1 creature, again, that's a consistent amount, and it can take out a decent amount of creatures out there, but it doesn't have as high of a ceiling as Cabaretti Charm does. That being said, obviously, with a guaranteed 3 damage to a creature, it doesn't have as low as a floor either. But yeah, in a go-wide strategy, the Cabaretti Charm is going to be more impactful when it comes to removal, especially since you can also take out Planeswalkers with it. That being said, the flexibility of the Naya Charm is incredible, again, allowing you to recur a card from your graveyard at instant speed for 3 mana. Cabaretti Charm just doesn't give you that kind of value. I mean, out of all the options, that very well might be the best one out of the 6. On top of that, again, that combat trick of being able to tap down all creatures target player controls is massive for 3 mana, again, at instant speed. Just as Cabaretti Charm, pumps your team and gives them trample to help try to push damage through, Naya Charm just says, who needs trample when your opponent can't block because I'm tapping down all their creatures? Conversely, you can also use this on defense, if you know a player is going to be swinging out at you with their creatures, just, before combat, tap those creatures down, and then they're wide open for everyone to come swing at them. So yeah, Naya Charm is incredibly flexible and very powerful, and there's a reason why it's the #1 charm out there. So although Cabaretti Charm is going to be good in specific decks like, go-wide strategies or token decks, which I guess are go-wide strategies, you know what I mean, Naya Charm just has a wider appeal for more decks out there. But now let's compare the Cabaretti Charm to Rith's Charm. It's an instant that says choose 1, destroy target non-basic land, or put 3 1/1 green sapling creature tokens onto the battlefield, or prevent all damage a source of your choice would deal this turn. Yeah, there is a reason why Rith's Charm only sees play in 1% of eligible decks out there. It is nowhere near as good as Naya Charm. In my opinion, it is not as good as Cabaretti Charm either. Now, obviously, the most comparable part of these 2 cards is that they each make tokens, with Rith's Charm making 3 tokens, which are green saplings, and Cabaretti Charm making 2 tokens, which are 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. So, I mean, unless you really care about, citizen tokens or that your tokens are green and white, Rith's Charm definitely has a 1-up on that. However, the other modes on Cabaretti Charm make up for that in comparison to Rith's Charm, because destroying a non-basic land, yes, is nice, but it's also very situational, and then also preventing all damage a source of your choice would deal this turn is incredibly situational. Now, sure, if you're playing against, I guess, a burn deck, yeah, that can come in really handy, but other than that, if someone's just swinging at you with a creature that, has no evasion, you could either do that, or you could just make, some tokens to actually just throw them in front of that creature to, not take damage. So that last mode, again, is pretty lackluster, and Cabaretti Charm, in my opinion, is quite a bit better than Rith's Charm, although again, I do want to specify that Cabaretti Charm is good in specific decks. And one of those decks, ironically, is a Rith deck with Rith the Awakener. Rith is a 6/6 dragon with flying, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 and a green. If you do, choose a color, then put a 1/1 green sapling creature token onto the battlefield for each permanent of that color. Rith decks can make an absurd amount of tokens in absolutely no time. So with a go-wide strategy such as this, Cabaretti Charm can fit right in, again, helping you dish out a ton of damage to a creature or planeswalker, pumping those tokens to actually help you get a lot of damage through, or maybe just adding some more tokens with those, 1/1 citizens for whatever reason. If you want to do that, go for it. Another commander that might want to consider this brand new charm is going to be Ghirid Conclave Exile. Ghirid's a 2/5 human shaman that has when it enters the battlefield create a 4/4 green rhino creature token with trample, and when it attacks, populate the token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. So Ghirid decks typically are populate decks, and they typically go wide very quickly. So again, you can take out the vast majority of creatures and planeswalkers with that first mode. You can pump your team and give them trample to help get damage through too. Or again, if you really want to make tokens, go for it. You probably won't be populating those 1/1 citizens, but you never know. If you're desperate, you can. Next up, another Naya commander that I want to highlight is Marisi, Breaker of the Coil. Marisi is a 5/4 cat warrior that says your opponents can't cast spells during combat. Whenever a creature controlled deals combat damage to a player, go to each creature that player controls. First up, instant speed removal in a Marisi deck can be massive because your opponents can't cast spells during combat. So hey, if you want to take out one of their creatures or planeswalkers, have some creatures on the board and cast Cabaretti Charm during combat, and they can't counter it. Also, a lot of Marisi decks out there tend to have a lot of low-to-the-ground creatures, so yeah, pumping those creatures to get some extra damage through to go to your opponent's creatures is a great move. And with that last mode, you can surprise your opponents by making 2 extra tokens before your turn. They might have thought they had enough blockers, but now they don't. And of course, on the other episodes about the charms, of course I brought up Ramos Dragon Engine, and I'm bringing it up again, go figure. Ramos loves charms because they are efficiently costed spells that have a lot of colors, and Ramos has whenever you cast a spell, put a +1 counter on Ramos Dragon Engine for each of that spell's colors. And by removing 5 counters from Ramos, you get to add double Wooburg to your mana pool to activate this ability only once each turn. Now, I will say that there are definitely very specific, every charm possible Ramos decks out there, and yeah, in that case, if you're running every charm possible, Cabaretti Charm is going to go into that Ramos deck. That being said, if your Ramos deck doesn't go wide and you're not just running every charm to run every charm, it's definitely going to be one that you're going to be thinking twice about. Again, in my opinion, Cabaretti Charm is more specific to a certain strategy than the other charms that we've seen so far. Regardless, if you're running a Ramos Charms deck, go for it! So yeah, in my opinion, that's how Cabaretti Charm stacks up against Maestro's Charm and Obscura Charm, and I am excited to see the other 2 charms coming out. We've obviously already seen Grixis, Esper, and Naya. Now we get to see the brand new Jund Charm and the brand new Bant Charm. Band new. I said band new. Oh no, I already need more coffee. This is not a good omen for spoiler season coming up next week. But yeah, make sure you stay tuned to this channel for even more spoilers coming up. I mean, there might be even more pre-spoilers this week, with potentially more charms coming out. And of course, make sure you stay tuned for actual spoiler season, which I believe starts on April 7th, which is next Thursday. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.